What's up, everybody? Episode 30 here, and we still got a sore throat. We got the furnace running. It's like 5 degrees outside. Good times. Got some progress made on the car. I basically finished up in the last video. We were MIG welding the seams. It was ugly, wasn't good. I ground everything down, wire wheeled it, got it finished up. And then I started making the plates. And what I want to do is just kind of go over the process of me making these plates. I think in the last video I actually had one or both of them cut out. I don't know if they were cleaned up or not, but I just kind of want to go over the process of how I made them and kind of go from there. So what we started out with is this flat template here, okay? That flat template matched the rocker, okay? So the outer shape of that rocker is what this flat template was. I took some 1/8 inch cold roll, mild steel cold roll, and I cut me out 2 of these flat templates, okay? Now, that inner frame rail wasn't flat, right? So if I put the flat plate up there, it wouldn't have matched the contour, okay? So let me show you what I ended up doing. I'm gonna go ahead and crawl in the car here so we can talk. So you can kind of see what we got going on here. I have this upper plate here, and then this is the front plate that started out flat. Now, you can see here, this curve here, the actual frame rail bumped out right here. So right here, it was sunken in a little bit where they have the structural part of the jack point, and then it bumped out to the thickness that it is the rest of the way down. And then the frame rail itself has a taper to it. So it's got a flat spot right here. So it's flat right here, and then it tapers in like this, okay? So what I decided to do with the tools that I have in my garage now, eventually I want to get like a 20-ton press and like a swag off-road kit. That way I can do these kind of bends way easier. But right now, all I got is my steel bench and a hammer, right? And a vise. So if I can't bend it with a vise, a hammer, and my bench, it pretty much needs to be cut and welded back together. So what I did is the one bend I did, I tried doing the compound bend, but when you have such a small section, it's hard to get a hammer or something small in there. If the sheet metal was thinner, I could have got away with it, but being 1/8 inch, you got to hit it pretty hard, and you'll start deforming it if you're not really clamped down on it good. So what I did is I made this initial bend here, and then I made a cut, and then I put the plate back on. And at that point, it was looking pretty good. But up here, there was a big gap. So right in here, the frame rail over here comes out more, and then it starts tapering in to where it's this thickness. So it's thick right here, and then it tapers in. So what I ended up doing is just making a cut where the flat stops. So you can kind of see this flat right here, this line right here is where it's flat. So I just made a cut right here and folded this top section over. Tacked it on to the frame rail, tacked it here. And then I took a piece of cardboard to make this top portion. I'll show you how I did that. So to do that top portion, I just cut a strip of cardboard that's the same width as this guy here. I just use like whatever straight edge that I have that's about the right width when I do stuff like this. So that particular yardstick was pretty close. And it was this template right here. All right, so we'll jump back in the car so I can show you how I did that. All right, so this is the passenger side. So now this cardboard wasn't cut out, it was just a flat strip. So I use these magnets to hold the cardboard flat, right? So with the flat strip like that, I would then take my Sharpie, right? And I would trace it all along the bottom here, the bottom edge, okay? So you got a strip that's wider than you need going down this way, and I just take the Sharpie and I run it along this bottom edge right here, right? And then at that point, you know, you can actually still see right on the edge where the Sharpie line was. So then at that point you can cut it out, okay? Once it's cut out, I started just kind of figuring out where this bend was, and I would bend it a little bit, bang on it, hammer, bend it by hand, lay it down flat, massage any areas. You know, I'm trying to keep it, you know, as flush as possible. Keep a nice edge right here to give a good edge to weld with. All the way up in here, and then again, just bending it around. And then I use one of these clamps here. And then just kind of clamp it down as I'm going to get that perfect shape. So same thing over here. It was a flat section. I did the bend, the cut, the other flat section, straight cut, and got it going on. So now this will be all TIG welded. It'll look super nice and clean, and obviously way better than what's underneath. What's underneath is just those MIG welds, and they're really just to hold that sheet metal together. So unfortunately they don't look the best, but they're gonna hold. Sorry about that little coughing fit again, throat killing me. And honestly, I the whole time I'm in here I'm wearing my respirator, so when I do these videos I take them off, and especially with my sore throat, everything that's still in the air, the cutting dust and everything else, when the furnace is blowing, it's kind of blowing it around in the air too. So unfortunately, it kind of aggravates it. You can see this is just from cutting the steel today. I clean this bench every day before I go in, and it's got quite a bit of mess on there. So we got these plates welded up. These are good, but we're not bolting them in yet, or we're not finish welding them yet. I actually have to cut them back off. I ordered some Steel It, which is a weldable spray paint. It's a chassis coating, and it's important for stuff like this to get coated before you weld plate on it. If not, you got this raw metal on raw metal, and if any water gets behind in there or moisture gets in behind in there, it's a spot where it can start rusting. And I really don't want this chassis to rust. So I'm gonna try and do my due diligence and make sure anything like this that I'm adding on, where I got two raw pieces of metal sandwiched together, I'm gonna coat them. So that should be here in 2 days. So I'll probably cut that back off, spray it all down, coat it, and then weld it on final. And then at that point I'll be happy with it, and I'll be ready to get the number 1 bar in. I also got a Buildco tubing notcher coming, so I can start notching some tubes. I still got to order the die and my Tin Soldier 4-link brackets. I think I did order the Tin Soldier 4-link brackets. I'm still just waiting on them. I don't remember. It's hard to keep track. And then yeah, we'll make some progress. I may also wanted to talk about, there's kind of going to be like a little bit of waiting period where I'm waiting on materials and parts. So I may drop some of my engine videos. So I'm going to do a whole series on basically, you got an engine from a junkyard, where do you go from there? So you got your core and you're going to build it, where do you start? I'm also going to do like, how would you inspect it before you take it apart? So I got a K24 over here. This is a K24 A2. It's out of a 2002 or 2003 Honda CR-V. And what I'll be doing with this block is it'll basically just be like rod pistons, head studs, and then I'll delete the iVTEC. So it'll be like a locked VTEC engine, stock cams, probably mild springs, just a real simple engine, something to hold 600 to like 800 horsepower reliably. Maybe not even that high, maybe just like 600 horsepower reliably. And that'll kind of be my starter engine that I'll start running this car with. So I'll go through the series with this. So you may see those getting splashed in every other day instead of every other day car uploads. Once I get my bending shoe, like I said, the notcher will be on its way. And then once I get some tubing, then we'll really just be rocking and rolling on this chassis. Get those brackets. I started looking up all the 4-link stuff that I want, the tubing, the Heim joints, the tube ends. So I'm gonna get that stuff coming too. And then we'll really just be rocking and rolling on this chassis. Once I got the stuff for that, that's going to take a lot of time. A lot of bending, a lot of notching, a lot of welding, tacking, changing this, changing that. So thank you guys for tuning along, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.